and you're watching our channel Biology on Tips. Today we are going to discuss about the new topic, that is the human circulatory system, which consists of three main components: blood, human heart and blood vessels. So let's start with it. First of all, what is circulatory system? Circulatory system is also called as cardiovascular system or vascular system. It is a type of organ system that permits blood to circulate and transport nutrients like amino acids and electrolytes, oxygen, carbon dioxide, hormones, blood cells to and from the cells in the body to provide nourishment and help in fighting diseases, stabilize temperature and pH and maintain homeostasis. देखिए, if I am talking about the circulatory system, it consists of a circulating fluid. It contains a fluid which travels throughout the body, and it is responsible for the transportation of different substances to each and every body cell, because each and every body cell is living structure. So it requires everything. It requires all the nutrients, whether it is amino acid, glucose, electrolytes. It requires oxygen for respiration. On the other hand, it also produces many waste products which has to be eliminated out of the body. Okay? So all the useful substances are transported to each and every body cell by the process of circulatory system, and the waste materials are excreted out of the body by circulatory system to different organs, and from different organs it is expelled out of the body. So if I am talking about a circulatory system, it basically consists of three main parts, three main components. Number one is the blood, which is the circulating tissue, connective tissue, a pumping organ called as heart, and third is the blood vessels inside which the blood moves. Before starting the human circulatory system, I want to tell you one basic concept, that is the types of circulatory system. So basically there are two types of circulatory system: open circulatory system and closed circulatory system. See, open, as the name is suggesting, open means it is the fluid, that is the connective tissue, that means blood. It will flow in it will not flow in well defined blood vessels. वो blood vessels में flow नहीं करेगा. It will be present in body cavity. It will be present in blood filled sinuses. Whereas in case of closed circulatory system, the blood flows in well defined blood vessels and it does not flow in blood sinuses. So in case of open circulatory system, because the blood is present in the cavity, openly present है cavity के अंदर, so all the body cells will be in direct contact with the blood. Whereas in case of closed circulatory system, all the cells will not be in direct contact with the blood. All the cells will get nutrition through capillaries. That means they will get the different important nutrients from blood through capillaries. Capillary is one of the blood vessels that we will discuss later. So basically, open circulatory system is a type of primitive circulatory system which is found in most of the invertebrates like arthropods. Arthropods example, you know, cockroach, and some annelids like leech. It is also found in mollusks and echinoderms. Whereas closed circulatory system is an advanced type of system which is found in most of the vertebrates, and it is also found in some of the invertebrates like earthworm. Earthworm contains closed circulatory system, whereas cockroach contains open circulatory system. Very, very important question for NEET. Now coming to the components of the human circulatory system, the number one component is the blood. If I am talking about blood, it is a bright red colored liquid connective tissue. It is a very important connective tissue. आपने connective tissues के बारे में पढ़ा होगा. So one of the tissue is specialized connective tissue. So blood comes under that category, specialized connective tissue. It circulates in the entire body by the muscular pumping organ called as heart. An adult human contains around 5 to 6 liters of blood Males generally contain more amount of blood than females. In adults, formation of blood cells take place in bone marrow. So, in embryonic stage, there are many different organs where the formation of blood cells takes place, like spleen, liver. But after a particular age, means in the adult stage, the primary organ becomes the bone marrow for the formation of blood. That means it is a very important hemopoietic organ, bone marrow. Blood consists of two parts. Very important question. Blood consists of two main parts. One is the plasma and second is the formed elements. Plasma is around 55% of the blood, whereas formed elements, which consist of RBCs, WBCs and platelets, it forms around 45% of the blood. Now if I am talking about plasma, it is the liquid part of the blood is called as plasma. Blood के अंदर जो liquid part है, that is the plasma. Okay, so it consists of 91% of the water and 9% solid part. This solid part consists of both inorganic and organic substances. Inorganic substances include sodium ion, potassium ion, calcium ion, chloride ion, bicarbonate ion and phosphate ion. Whereas organic substances include the plasma proteins, urea, uric acid, xanthin, creatinine, glucose, amino acids, lipids, hormones, antibodies, etc. Now you can see in the composition of plasma that the useful products are also there and the harmful products are also there, means waste products are also there. So useful products will reach to the body cells and harmful products are coming from the body cells so that they will be eliminated out of the body by different organs. One more important thing, plasma without fibrinogen is called as serum. You can see clear cut in the diagram. ये इस डायग्राम में आप बहुत अच्छे से देख सकते हैं that the blood has undergone the process of clotting. So the liquid region which is present towards the upper side is called as serum. So I can say plasma is equals to serum plus fibrinogen. Another very important question. Now there is very important part that what are the plasma proteins. So basically there are four types of plasma proteins: albumin, globulin, prothrombin and fibrinogen. Albumin is the smallest protein which is abundantly found, very much found in plasma. It is responsible to maintain the osmotic balance. Second, globulin. Globulin, as the name is suggesting, it participates in the formation of antibodies, hence involved in defense mechanism. जितने भी हमारी एंटीबॉडीज़ बनती हैं, 5 टाइप की एंटीबॉडीज़ होती हैं, IgA, like that. All these are globulin in nature. Next is prothrombin. It is involved in blood clotting mechanism. Prothrombin and fibrinogen both are involved in blood clotting mechanism, but prothrombin participates in blood clotting mechanism, whereas fibrinogen is responsible to form the actual clot. So it requires for the formation of clot. Next is the blood corpuscles. If I am talking about the formed elements, that means the blood corpuscles, they are of three types: RBC, WBCs and platelets. So first of all, talking about RBCs. RBCs are also called as erythrocytes. They are circular. You can see in the diagram. They are circular in shape and biconcave. You can see these are biconcave and circular in shape and enucleated. Initially the nucleus is present in RBCs, but at maturity the nucleus disappears in order to provide additional space to the RBCs, in order to provide additional space to RBC, so that maximum amount of hemoglobin it can store inside it. RBC के अंदर जितने भी सेल ऑर्गेनल्स होते हैं वो सब डीनेचर हो जाते हैं एट द टाइम ऑफ मेच्योरिटी, इवन माइटोकॉन्ड्रिया. That is why RBC, which is carrying most important molecule, hemoglobin, and hemoglobin is carrying oxygen molecule. So RBC is carrying the oxygen molecule, still it respires anaerobically, because all the cell organelles denature, they disappear at the time of maturity, so as to provide maximum space for hemoglobin. So main function of RBC is to transport oxygen molecule from lungs to the body cells. Next is the WBCs. They are also called as the leukocytes. They are large in size, colorless and nucleated. They are of two types basically. Granulocytes on the basis of number of granules, means if the granules are present, they are the granulocytes, and if the granules are absent, then they are the agranulocytes. So granulocytes include three types: acidophil, basophil and neutrophil, whereas agranulocytes are of two types: monocytes and lymphocytes. Next is the platelets. If I am talking about the platelets, they are called as the thrombocytes. They are tiny cells with no nucleus. They do not contain nucleus. They are just the fragments of cytoplasm that are derived from megakaryotes of the bone marrow and enter the circulation. See, megakaryocytes, they are the type of cells that are formed by bone marrow. So these cells produce a large number of platelets, around 1 to 3,000 from one megakaryote. So they are the fragments of cytoplasm which get activate and they form such shape. You can see in the diagram. This is the fragment of cytoplasm, and when they are getting activated, they are acquiring this type of shape. So because they do not contain nucleus, the average lifespan is 8 to 9 days. The main function of platelets is to stop bleeding at the site of interrupted epithelium. There is a very beautiful diagram in front of you. You can see that the epithelium has broken down from here, and all the platelets, they get information that the epithelium has broken down. So all the platelets are coming towards the epithelial side in order to cover the open space, and they are forming a clot. Now if I am talking about the functions of blood, it is responsible for the transport of oxygen. As you all know that the RBCs contain hemoglobin that combines with oxygen to form oxyhemoglobin, which is transported to tissues of the body to carry out the process of cellular respiration. Secondly, it is also responsible for the transport of carbon dioxide. As I already told you that oxygen goes inside the cells, whereas CO2 comes out of the cells. That CO2 also moves to the lungs through blood. Body cells release CO2 as excretory product after respiration, which is also eliminated out of the body through blood. Transport of nutrients. I have already told in my section of digestive system that the nutrients, I told you the process of absorption in the digestive system. The link of digestive system I will provide you in the end of my lecture. I told you that all the food components, after breaking down, they come into the smallest unit. So that smallest unit is absorbed from intestine into the blood. तो वो सारा खाना absorb होने के बाद कहाँ जा रहा है? Blood में जा रहा है. So blood is the most important transporter molecule which is taking all the digested nutrients like glucose, amino acid, fatty acid, etc. to the body cells. Transport of excretory products. The nitrogenous waste like ammonia, urea and uric acid of body are transported to the kidneys by the blood, from where they are eliminated out of the body. I already told you. Maintains pH. The plasma protein cell acts as buffer system and maintain required pH of the body tissues. See, the body tissues have a constant pH. That constant pH is maintained by blood. by the buffer system, by the exchange of ions. So they maintain the pH. Clotting of blood, which is one of the most important function of blood. Blood contains platelets which form clot at the site of injury and prevents blood to flow out of the body. Last is the protection against diseases. WBCs present in blood produces antibodies against invading pathogens. Whatever antigen, whatever foreign antigen is entering inside our body. So for that foreign antigen, there is always a defense mechanism goes inside our body, which is controlled by WBCs. Other than these, there are many other functions of blood like transport of hormones, etc. Water balance also is one of the important function of blood. Next most important component of human circulatory system is heart. Heart is a muscular organ which pumps blood into arteries and receives blood from veins. See, heart is a very important and vital muscular organ which is found inside our body. It is located in the thoracic cavity, or I can say chest cavity, in the mediastinal space. The space between the two lungs is called as mediastinal space, and it is quite shifted towards left. That's why the left lung is having cardiac notch. Cardiac notch, this question generally comes in NEET, that cardiac notch is present in. The answer seems to be heart because it is cardiac notch. But the answer is lungs. And the answer, I can say the most appropriate answer is left lung. So because of the slight tilting of the heart towards left, the left lung consists of a notch called as cardiac notch. It is covered by double-walled membranous covering called as pericardium. The fluid which is present inside the pericardium is called as pericardial fluid. Humans have 4-chambered heart. Humans come under the category of mammalia, so they have complete 4-chambered heart. These 4 chambers are 2 auricles and 2 ventricles. Auricles or atria, one and the same thing. The chambers are formed due to the formation of septum between auricles and ventricles. Auricles are separated by a septum called interauricular septum, while ventricles are separated by a septum called interventricular septum. Further, auricles and ventricles are separated by auriculoventricular septum. The chambers of heart are guarded by walls in order to prevent backflow of blood from ventricles to auricles. Right side, which wall you find? You will find tricuspid wall, whereas on the left side you will find bicuspid wall. All these statements we will understand from the diagram. The arteries leaving the heart also have walls called as semilunar walls. Now this is the diagram in front of you which I have made for you all. You can see there is this side is always considered as the right side and this side is always considered as the left side. So this chamber will be the right auricle or right atrium, and this chamber will become the left auricle or the left atrium, and just below it this is right ventricle and this is left ventricle. So you can see that the heart is covered by 2 membrane structure. This 2 membrane structure is called as pericardium, and the space between 2 membranes to this pericardium consists of fluid which is called as pericardial fluid. Now you can see that the auricles are separated by a septum. This septum is called as interauricular septum, whereas ventricles are separated by a septum called as interventricular septum. There is one more septum which is found between the auricles and ventricles. This one. This is called as auriculoventricular septum, which is guarded by walls. The tricuspid wall is found between the right auricle and right ventricle in order to prevent the backflow of the blood, whereas bicuspid wall is found between left auricle and left ventricle in order to prevent the backflow of the blood from ventricle to auricle. You can see one more thing, that this bicuspid wall is also called as mitral wall. Very important question for NEET. And you can see that there are 4 blood vessels which are coming in or going out of the heart. Number 1, inferior and superior vena cava. These 2 blood vessels carry deoxygenated blood from the body to the right auricle. I repeat again, there are 4 main blood vessels which are coming to the heart or they are going to the heart. There are 4 main blood vessels. Number 1 is the inferior and superior vena cava, which is taking the deoxygenated blood to the right auricle of the heart. Why it is named superior and why it is named inferior? Inferior, when the deoxygenated blood comes from all the body parts below the heart, it is called as inferior vena cava. Inferior vena cava का मतलब है वो ब्लड वेसल जो डीऑक्सीजनेटेड ब्लड ला रही है हार्ट से नीचे जितने भी ऑर्गन्स प्रेजेंट है, जितने भी बॉडी पार्ट्स प्रेजेंट है वहाँ से वो लाएगी inferior vena cava से. And superior vena cava brings deoxygenated blood from all the parts above the heart, which are located above the heart. तो superior vena cava वहाँ से वो deoxygenated blood लेकर आएगी उन सभी पार्ट से जो हार्ट के ऊपर प्रेजेंट है. Now from right auricle the blood will reach to right ventricle, and from right ventricle it will come out through pulmonary artery. This blood, the blood present in pulmonary artery is deoxygenated blood, and it will go to the lungs for oxygenation. There is an exception that pulmonary artery, as the name is suggesting artery, generally जो arteries होती हैं वो oxygenated blood carry करती हैं और veins deoxygenated blood carry करती है, लेकिन यहाँ एक exception है that pulmonary artery carries deoxygenated blood. And from the lungs the oxygenated blood will come through pulmonary vein. Again an exception. Pulmonary artery and pulmonary vein are the exception. Pulmonary artery carries the deoxygenated blood from heart to the lungs for oxygenation, whereas pulmonary vein consists of oxygenated blood from the heart, from the lungs to the heart. So once the blood comes from lungs, once the oxygenated blood comes from the lungs, it comes to the heart, and from heart it will come to the left ventricle, and from left ventricle it will be distributed throughout the whole body by the blood vessel called as aorta. Now you can see that the bicuspid, see diagram again, bicuspid and tricuspid walls, they are present, bicuspid and tricuspid walls, they are present between right and left, right auricles and ventricles, between the auricles and ventricles, whereas semilunar walls, they are present only at 2 sides. One is the pulmonary artery, at the opening of pulmonary artery, and second is the opening of aorta. So coming to the blood vessels of heart, there are 4 main blood vessels I told you just now. Inferior and superior vena cava. These blood vessels carry deoxygenated blood from different parts of the body to the right auricle or atrium of heart. Pulmonary artery, it carries deoxygenated blood from heart to the lungs for oxygenation, or I can say purification of blood. It is the only artery which carries deoxygenated blood. DOB stands for deoxygenated blood and OB stands for oxygenated blood. Pulmonary vein, it carries oxygenated blood from lungs to the heart for distribution of oxygenated blood in the whole body. It is the only vein which carries oxygenated blood. And last is the aorta. It is the main blood vessel which distributes oxygenated blood in the whole body. It moves from left ventricle. It opens from left ventricle. Now again a very important question, what is double circulation? In humans, the blood passes the heart twice to complete one cycle, to complete one circulation. That process is called as double circulation. So this double circulation consists of two main parts. One is the systemic circulation and second is the pulmonary circulation. For this, first of all, we will see the diagram. So here is a heart in front of you. This is heart in front of you, and these are the lungs for the purification of blood, and these are the body cells from which the deoxygenated blood is coming. So the deoxygenated blood comes from the body cells into the right auricle. From right auricle it will move to the right ventricle. From right ventricle the deoxygenated blood will reach to lungs, and from lungs the oxygenated blood will come back into the left auricle, and from left auricle it will reach into the left ventricle by bicuspid wall, and from left ventricle the blood will be distributed to the whole body through aorta. So this is how the blood is coming in the heart twice. First time the deoxygenated blood is coming, and second time the oxygenated blood is coming. So blood is coming twice towards the heart. So this is called as double circulation. But this double circulation is divided into two main parts. First is the systemic circulation and second is the pulmonary circulation. So the circulation of blood towards the system, that is the deoxygenated blood is coming from systems to the heart, and the oxygenated blood which is coming from the heart to the body system is called as systemic circulation. That means this region is called as the systemic circulation. Whereas pulmonary circulation means when the deoxygenated blood moves from the heart to the lungs, and the oxygenated blood from the lungs moves to the heart. This region of circulation is called as the pulmonary circulation. Now coming to the definition again. Systemic circulation, the movement of deoxygenated blood from the body cells to the heart and oxygenated blood from heart to the body cells is called as systemic circulation. Whereas pulmonary circulation is the movement of deoxygenated blood from the heart to the lungs and oxygenated blood from the lungs to the heart. It's called as pulmonary circulation. Very important diagrams. Now coming to the last section, that is the blood vessels. The third most important component of the human circulatory system. So basically there are three types of blood vessels that are in front of you in a tabular form. Very important question so far as boards are concerned or any competitive exam is concerned. There are three types of blood vessels: arteries, veins and capillaries. See, the main function of arteries is to carry oxygenated blood from heart to different body parts. But there is an exception. There is only one exception, that is the pulmonary artery, which is carrying the deoxygenated blood from the heart to the lungs. Usko artery क्यों बोला? If it was carrying deoxygenated blood, then why we called it as pulmonary artery? Why not pulmonary vein? Because according to the old concept, arteries are the blood vessels which carry blood away from the heart. That is why it is called as pulmonary artery, not pulmonary vein. So arteries generally carries blood from the heart to the body. Veins carry blood from different parts to body, different parts of the body to the heart. And capillaries are the very fine, they are very fine and minute blood vessels which connects arteries and veins together. So capillaries are like connectives, they are very fine blood vessels which reach to each and every body cell. So they are mainly responsible for connection of arteries and veins. Arteries generally carry oxygenated blood, veins generally carry deoxygenated blood, whereas capillaries contain both oxygenated and deoxygenated blood, because they are at the junction of arteries and veins both. So the capillaries contain both oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. You all know the concept of lymphatic system. Lymphatic system is formed, the lymph is formed by the diffusion of tissue fluid which comes out of the capillaries. So arteries divide into fine blood vessels which are called as arterioles, and arterioles divide into capillaries. Capillaries continue into venule, and venule combine to form vein. So this is how the movement of blood takes place. And at the time of capillary, the water oozes out into the body cells, forming the interstitial fluid called as lymph. Arteries, they have high pressure with thicker walls. You can see the walls of arteries are very thick, so pressure will be high because the lumen is narrow. Lumen will be narrow, so pressure will be high, so that the blood will flow. Blood will reach to each and every body cell with the whole pressure. Whereas veins contain low pressure with thinner walls. Capillaries are just one cell thick in order to provide the process of diffusion. Very important point. Capillaries are single cell thick. मैंने अभी बोला बहुत माइन्यूट ब्लड वेसल्स हैं जो एक एक सेल तक न्यूट्रिएंट पहुंचाने का काम कर रही हैं, प्लस वेस्ट मटेरियल को लाने का काम कर रही है. Walls are absent in arteries because they have high pressure, whereas veins have walls because they have to carry deoxygenated blood mainly against the gravity, because heart is located towards the top of the body and most of the body parts are present towards the lower side of the heart. So the blood has to move in opposite direction against the gravity. So veins have walls, whereas capillaries does not have walls also. Blood flows with fast speed. In veins, blood flows with very slow speed because there is no pumping pressure, pumping organ towards the vein. From veins there is no pumping organ to circulate the blood forcefully. So towards vein the pressure is very low, therefore they have walls. Blood flows very slowly as process of diffusion takes place here. There is a very important flow chart. There is very important differences between these three. See the diagram carefully. This is all about the human circulatory system in very brief. Thank you for watching my video. If you like my video, give a thumbs up. If you have not subscribed my channel yet, please subscribe it now. Share my video. Give your feedback in the comment box. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter. You can also play quiz of our channel on Quiz app. Thank you once again.